Fortune and Strife features subjects which can be uncomfortable for a general audience, such as the use of drugs and alcohol, poor treatment of people of different classes or cultures, adult situations, psychological trauma, deprivation, survival, natural disasters, and violence. Listener discretion advised. In addition, these next few episodes of the show contain cultural and historical content based upon the peoples of Asia and the Far East. We are coming at this from a place of respect and genuine interest and a love of these cultures, places, and history. We may not get it 100% right all the time, and we ask you to bear with us and give us the benefit of the doubt, and we would let us know when we get it wrong. We want to be an ally in dispelling Orientalism that has affected the Asian and Middle Eastern communities around the world. Welcome to Fortune and Strife. I am Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, and I'll be your host and narrator.
I am Jeanne, and I am playing Doji Gen.
I am Tyler, and I am playing Akoto Ricci. Let's play some L5R in the Burning Sands.
So with the passing of the sandstorm, you have all started to take kind of stock of what has what's been left and what's been lost in the aftermath of the storm. So, Ricci, how are you doing?
Well, outside of the physical injuries, Ricci's mostly naked at this point because the clothes were already in bad enough condition from the fight. The sandstorm did not help that at all. So, just the undergarments.
Have gone from damaged to destroyed. So, yeah, you're looking mighty threadbare. Your clothing does nothing for you at this point, really. It's just tattered rags, really.
I have my undergarments, and that's about it. But my satchel of medicinal supplies is also looking a little rough. Nothing inside got terribly too damaged, but it's got a lot more sand in there, and it's going to take forever to get it out. But
yeah, whenever you gotta, patch a wound, you got to shake all the sand out of the gauze before you pack anyone's wounds with it, for sure. Okay. Yeah,
exactly. And it's got a few tears in it here and there that just leave things a little bit more open to the environment. The book too, or my copy of Leadership did make it out pretty untouched, which I'll take. But the other thing that got a little bit more worse for the wear is the saya for my katana. Just a little bit of sand got into the sheath itself, and it's kind of messing around with the sword. It's a little bit more gritty when I try to draw it, and some of the finish, because I have a red finish on the saya, it's chipped away, and now it just doesn't look nearly as nice either.
Yeah, no, that is a little rough there with it being gritty. Yeah, it's gonna mix with the oil and make Aijitsu real tough. It's gonna stick and grind a little bit as you draw from here on out, till you could really get that cleaned out. All right, Gen, how about for yourself?
Well, Gen has lost her Harry, a lot of her ties and obi parts that were done. Her hair ribbon that she uses to keep her hair back properly is now gone, so she has nothing to tie her hair back. It's all kind of hanging. She looks like a mess. This is terrible. She's a crane. She can't look like this. She also lost almost all her arrows. Her bow is damaged. The bowstring is snapped, and she doesn't have the equipment to repair it at all with her.
Yeah, like you could probably get it by with tying it off, but it will definitely not be, how shall we say, suitable for much use besides a couple of shots, which is fine because you only have a couple arrows left.
Right. And her traveling clothes are damaged as well. They probably would have been almost destroyed, but she had actually done a really good job of reinforcing them when we were in town with her sewing kit.
Oh, that's right. You had made them durable, yeah.
Before. So they're only damaged and managed to hang together. Sueno has lost her hat, which she always wears her straw hat. So this is. She lost her hat. It's
right. She lost her hat. One, it was really good in the sun to keep that off her head also. But it also kept people from staring too much at her at her eye patch. If she didn't want them to be looking, she could always pull it down a little low and angle her head the right way, and people didn't have to stare so much. But now she's lost her kind of one ability to cope with that now. But it's better than losing her life.
Right, and her traveling clothes and her shakuhachi are both damaged from the storm.
Oh, her flute. It's gonna sound a little wheezy.
Yep.
Let's see. Hayate has lost many chunks of his armor to the point that I think his armor is pretty much toast at this point. The main breastplate and one of the shoulders are completely gone, and he's just got little pieces here and there. And pretty much by the end of that morning of searching around for things, he will just drop the rest of it, the armored skirt and the greaves. It's at this point it's just more metal and lacquered leather to carry around to the point it's not worth it anymore. So he's gonna just drop those into the desert to be lost as well. Well, he can't find his mempo and handkerchief from earlier. He's able to find his kabuto, which has become damaged. But it's still something, and he could wear that to keep the sun off at least for a bit, or who knows, maybe help dig out of this situation in the future. And what else? What else of his might be damaged at this point? Oh, those two things lost and one thing damaged. We'll go with that. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing to kind of wake up to and deal with all this. His gourd is still there. It's got your dregs of water that you have left. It's every sip is going to be filled with sand at this point, but it's at least it's still something to drink. Same with the bits of succulents that Richie found earlier. They're pretty much caked in almost it seems like a millimeter of sand all the way around almost every piece, because it is that kind of slightly damp succulent nature to it, so it just clings to the sand and holds onto it, and it's a pain in the butt to scrape it all off, and you're going to still get bites here and there that are going to be sandy, but you've at least held on to those things, and it's not a whole lot, but it'll hopefully get you going for one more day out here in the desert. You got to find something and somewhere to be. You can't keep up at this level of you're just this drastically unprepared for the environment, which not through any fault of your own, but this desert is unfamiliar to every one of you, and it's going to be the death of you if you don't find a situation, or if your situation doesn't change here.
Well, let's hope it changes.
We've got to keep moving. We really can't stay here.
Can you walk? I can try and support you.
I'll be fine. We just may have to go a little slower, but I can go.
Okay.
Well, after taking assessment of everything that you have and brushing everything as much as you can, or knocking the sand out as much of it as you can, you'll have to find a way to navigate. You weren't sure exactly kind of which direction was which when you kind of came up to this whole thing, but luckily Gen seems to have a fairly good understanding of the stars, and so she could try to help guide you again by trying to find whatever eastern bearing she had been using before.
Okay.
So yeah, trying to set yourself up with what's north or what's south, what's going to be your guide stars here. So again, TN2 seafaring or TN3 survival to hopefully get moving back east, or at least the same direction you've been hopefully traveling, which you guys will have a fairly good idea. You're not completely lost because Richie did keep you in the relative area that you guys had kind of started at.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a shot. I will give it with seafaring. I will give it with earth, I guess.
All right. Earth Seafaring, TN2.
Water doesn't seem like it will work.
Go ahead.
Uh,
Not as much. I mean, water. Well, water is a survey. I would allow you to kind of use kind of a survey attempt with it. I know water usually says exchange for trade, but that doesn't. That's mostly for exchanging of goods. It doesn't really work so well with thinking about it in a navigational sense. So I think that taking the survey approach from Scholar works just fine here.
okay, I'm going to use water then, and I'm basically I'm can follow the same course we've been on, using just the stars. But what I want to do is like go to the top of a dune or something so I can get a look farther away and see if maybe this direction isn't the best one we should be going. Is there hills or anything now that we've been a few days that
Yeah,
we can see
absolutely.
that would cause us to change another direction? So that's kind of why I'm using a water approach here.
I like it. Okay.
Okay. I got 2 successes. Was that enough?
That is enough. It was TN2.
Okay. Great. Well, I will just Okay. I will keep 2 successes and 2 opportunities with Strife. I will use one of the opportunities to negate 2 Strife off of myself. Because you can do that with water, right?
Okay. Yep. Absolutely.
The other opportunity to negate a fatigue off myself.
There you go. And this is again natural philosophy, so you can lose another 3 from your passion.
All right. That is what I will do. So 2 successes, 2 opportunities, 2 Strife, negate the Strife with one of the waters, remove a fatigue with the other, and remove 3 Strife from my passion. If I'm going to go, I might as well go under the light of the stars, right?
Under the light of stars, exactly. Again, and the stars are easy to see, even if the moon is still not quite here, not quite with you. You didn't roll 3. You didn't get 3 Strife on that check, so you're fine there. And you all set out heading east again. Gen and Sueno make use of again the stars and their little makeshift instruments that they've set up to kind of check on things. Gen still got her book that they could keep a log and kind of checking things out against, and to keep track of possibly how far you might have traveled over this time. You continue to tread east through the desert, navigated by the stars as Sueno and Gen have set up their own makeshift instruments, little notches on sticks to try to measure the height of stars against the horizon, moving to the different dunes to take a look and see if you might spot anything that is out there. Again, no moon, but it leaves the stars bright as can be, and with that thick patches of stars here and there, and the streaking of other objects in the night sky. If you weren't in such a precarious situation, you might find it to be just breathtakingly beautiful out here at night. But again, that would be if it wasn't just so bone-chillingly, whippingly cold after you nearly baked to death inside the sand that afternoon. But this is where you find yourself. Heading east on through till the shimmering sunrise begins to build up, and Lady Sun starts to crest the horizon. And for many of you, this is a bitter thought. Another day that Lady Sun seems to rise not out of the ocean as she always does, the ocean named after her for that very reason, but up from beyond just hills of endless sand, of dust, of dirt, of scrub brush, no real trees to think of. But that's when you get the look of something. something out there, just under the sun's rays. Looks like it could be a patch of water.
Ooh.
Some bit of lake, or maybe the edge of a river or something. Hayate is just excited beyond belief. By the plussings of the kami, I think I might even see a tree out there. And he kind of runs up to the top of a hill, and he starts trying to look as best he can and shield his eyes. And he's like, I think it's a bend in the river. And he starts tearing off. He just starts running.
Come on, Richie-san. If we just push on a little bit further today, we might be able to make it. Sueno,
at least there's something to look forward to.
You got its other side?
Sueno she helps to kind of support him there, and it's not Ricci's legs are giving out, just the back and the hunching over. So yeah, just getting him up straight with people on either side kind of helps stretch that out a bit. And before long, you're all moving at a good clip. You see Hayate in front of you, and just yelling how he thinks it's just a little bit farther, maybe another mile or so.
I was going to say, we haven't stopped to collect water at the end of the night with the dew or anything like that, because there's something close and we're pushing on. But it's close.
Mm-hmm.
So yay.
Yeah, it's close, but he said that like an hour ago, and the sun is just rising higher and higher, and you're all sure of what you're seeing, except it's just out of reach. And every step you take, every additional mile you put in, it doesn't seem to be getting any closer.
Oh no. What is this?
I don't know, but it must be some cruel trick of the spirits.
Some magic thing, or
maybe? I don't know.
At this point, Gen throws down her bow, and she's like, "No, this can't be. First the fortunes drowned me, and now they're creating illusions of water, and we're going to die of thirst." She just lets her hands fall for a moment and says, I must be the biggest joke that Tengoku has to play, and I'm sorry, Richie-san, that you have gotten sucked into it. I'm sorry, Sueno-san.
No, that is definitely not the case. You're not a joke, but circumstances are not good. I do not believe this is fate playing anything upon you or me. It's just we may have gotten in over our heads.
Up ahead, you see Hayate fall to his knees, rip the kabuto off his head, and he just starts digging. And he's like, if it's close enough, maybe there's water just underneath here, like a spring, something. And he is just flinging dust and dirt everywhere, to the point where his hands start to bleed and crack from just how dry and abrasive everything is. And it's not long after that he passes out from exhaustion, just completely spent after his outburst, and he's just face first into the sand.
We need to stop. We need to make sure that Hayate-san is going to be okay. We
And
might just need to take a day to not travel.
Or make other decisions. And again, gives Ricci a meaningful look, as if she's referring back to that first conversation. But she picks up her bow and makes her way towards Hayate with Ricci and Sueno.
And it is just hot. Everything is, the sun is now directly overhead, and you have just a person probably in the throes of heat stroke laying there. He's just effectively unconscious. He's not worth anything. He's babbling incoherently, not making any sense. Just if he had any water left in him, he'd be just coated in sweat, but the sand doesn't even stick to him. He's just that dry entirely, to the point that just there's nothing left for his body to give.
All right. I look at Ricci and Sueno and say, he shared his water with us. I think he should get the last of it.
I agree. We should give him one of the fruits as well.
I don't know if he can chew it, but we'll give him the last water in the...
There you go. You take the gourd and you hold it up to his mouth, and he just greedily just sucks down the last of what was in there, and it wasn't much, but it does seem to help him a bit, and he kind of stops his raving, and he falls asleep with long, slow, sometimes hacking coughs of breath, but he's asleep, and it's better than he was. But that's it for the water.
Yep. I'm going to... I'll take off my my traveling clothes, outer kimono, and give it to Ricci so that he doesn't sunburn anymore anyway.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Thank
Ricci
you.
at this point is probably turning a nasty shade of red, if not blistering up. But yeah, so you don the colors of the crane, which does feel odd. It's definitely not something that you'd want too many of the fellow students that you went to dojo with growing up to learn that you'd found yourself wearing these colors that are usually held in such enmity and disdain within the Lion Clan.
Oh,
All right.
what they don't know won't hurt me.
Yeah, but you could still, even still, the jeers that you're sure could come are still haunt your ears, even though you know that they're never going to see you like this. But even still, it there's a little bit of self-mockery, even if you can't, even if you could rationalize it away yourself. But you put those on, and it does help quite a bit compared to what you did have on after the sandstorm.
Thank you, Ganson. It's a bad spot.
Again, nods. She's beginning to get like kind of... She's keeping a really cool head all over, relatively speaking, but she's pale complected anyway. Relatively speaking, she's graying and got the white hair and all of that stuff, so she's not really dark tan in order to really be able to handle this much either, but that's okay. She says, well, storytelling, poetry, or meditation?
Poetry's always been a downfall of mine, and meditation's just not the Akodo way. And like I've said before, Mom was in a coma, so I got stories.
All right. Storytelling it is. Until we decide we have to do something else. You want to start?
I can at least start. Yeah, I can start with a with a story of Takayuki. Did you ever get to meet Aikoma Takayuki?
No, I did not. Tell me of him.
He's a good samurai and a good friend, waiting for me back in Rokugan, though I may see him in Maida before then. But he and I, we let me set this up the first way, is that he is such a loudmouth and a braggart, and he holds his ancestors well in that regard. And there's one time that I believe he was a Bayushi, came into one of the sake houses we were at, and he proudly stated he could outdrink any lion in the area. Well, Takayuki took him up on that challenge, and they were just going back and forth on sakis. Like the Takayuki would bring out one of his sakis that he brought from his home, and the Bayushi would bring out one from his home, and it was insane how much they both could put away at that. But ultimately, it came down that the Bayushi said one too many things, and well, let's just say that Takayuki threw a better punch than the Bayushi could, and it's not a good place for a Scorpion to get into a bar fight in the middle of all the lion samurai in the area. It's the only bar fight that Takayuki is proud of. He's won his fair share, but that's the one he really, really enjoys telling the story of. He can tell a lot better than I can, that's for sure.
I have heard, well, we got to see the Akoma storytellers somewhat Hakuten Matsu, and it was always quite glorious, though I never knew quite what to believe. The line between what is factual and what is meant can sometimes be blurry.
Yeah, it is a very thin line, but that line is often enjoyable to cross at times.
Again, size. Scorpion can be very, very much trouble. That is certainly true. Did I ever tell you about the winter court that I spent in Kyuden Shishoro?
I don't believe you have.
Yes. It was the year after Kyuden Matsu. My parents were assigned to Kyuden Shishoro for reasons. They were always assigned to set up for winter court, and I met a friend there, Kitsuki Magi. She was the daughter of the dragon diplomat, and we were the same age. And the Scorpion had put us both under the eye of Bayushi Mitsui, who was another girl our age, but we knew that she had been placed there to watch us. And so we spent all summer playing a form of complex tag in the castle of the Bayushi, chasing her and her chasing us all through all the places where little girls should not be going in the castle of the Bayushi. But of course, always with proper decorum and never quite stepping out of the boundaries. Oh, she must have been so furious with us. But she gave me a tea set at the end of it. Mitsui did. But I remained friends with Kitsuki Magi for many years after that. She might miss my next letter, however. I have quite the tale to tell her.
Well, I think that would be an interesting experience, playing a bit of a game of hiding and finding amongst a scorpion castle. That just sounds great. And that just Riichi just kind of slumps over.
Gen settles him. She checks him over just as best as she can. And tries to compose him properly, and looks to Sueno. Does Sueno look worse than me?
Does she look worse than you? I mean, it's hard. You can't see the entirety of yourself, but Sueno is not doing especially well. But she has gone from kind of a position of watching your back to scooting closer and resting a hand near you as you both tell your stories before she's also fallen asleep. So there you are. You're one of the last ones still awake in the late afternoon sun when what should appear kind of walking out of what you thought was the bend in the river is the image of, well, the woman Sin, or back to Inari, and she grows and grows until she's probably 10 feet tall, it looks like, above you. And she says, "I'm so sorry, my children, that you had to be lost and tossed aside this far from home. It's taking me so long to find you." And go ahead.
Gen's eyes are bloodshot, filled with sand and everything, and she can barely see anyway, and she definitely doesn't have enough left to bow or anything else at this point. She's just silently looking up at her, and her lips are cracked as she says, "Is this illusion too?"
Well, if it is, take and enjoy what blessings I can give you this far from home. And she presents a cloth that she sets down, and it is a cloth covered in playful foxes carrying different objects. You're not sure if they are meant to be sacred or if they are somehow stolen and being like they are making off with something they shouldn't. And she unties it, and inside are onigiri of various types. You see pickled vegetables in several gourds, and she says these are filled with the milk of an ox. The unicorns swear by it in their travels, that this is what can keep one going after so long. Take this, and if it is an illusion, well then, no harm in tasting its sweetness and enjoying it while you can. And if this blessing in my image is true, whether you believe in me or not, hopefully it'll keep you going for the next couple days.
Again, tries to bow and says, "If it's an illusion, it's a nice one." And she reaches for the gourd and takes a sip of it because she can't care for the others if she falls apart herself right at the moment.
And you were hit with the taste of well, I mean, it depends how much you have enjoyed ox milk or not, but if it's anything like you have read in the books, yeah, it is just as pungent and warm as if it had just come off the beast. At least that's what the only thing that kind of runs through your head is what the unicorn would say when they gave it to other Rokugani, and you remember cases of your Doji ancestors tasting it and doing their best not to retch on the scene, but even with its particularly strong scent and flavor, you were able to drink of it and keep it down, and it coats the mouth and the throat, and you no longer have that burning, terrible sensation of just parched, burning, chapped lips, mouth, and throat. It's like you were just covered in now a second skin, a healing skin, and you feel relief for the first time in days.
She makes the gesture of her hands of thanking Inari for her food before quickly pouring some into Sueno's mouth and Richi's mouth and Hayate's mouth. Thank you.
Of course, it's the least I can do as the fortune of rice and of the bounty of nature. This is unfortunately both the best I can do and the least I can do in this situation. You are far from home, and it exceeds almost the reach of my ability this far out. But there are those even out here that know of my name and give the blessings to my spirit and to those kami that are kind and close to me. And if things go as they should, you will know of them soon.
Gen hesitates for a moment and asks, even though it costs her to do it, are Bisho and Yui all right?
And with that, she appears to come back down, not quite to the height of Sen, probably still a bit taller than even Richi would be, but no longer the towering of herself that was nearly twice your size. And she motions Bisho forward, or at least a fox that resembles the one that you challenged to a duel those few weeks ago. And it bows its head, and she says, "He has sought you out throughout the spirit realms and the Ningendo for days now. He wouldn't let up until he got a hold of your and Richi's scent. And he is how I have come to find you, my messenger, as they always do." And Yui is... Well, Yui is with Ryuji and Mariko right now. And she is safe. Or as safe as any of them are. But they're still in in Chikshido. And we are going to hopefully find them a way home. And soon.
I
You could
nod,
see there's
yeah.
a slight look of, there's a slight look of kind of, not apprehension, but hesitancy to kind of tell you any more than that.
Mhm.
But, yeah, there seems to be something else there. Something she's not quite telling you about Ryuji, Mariko, and Yui yet.
Okay. If I was not like on the verge of death, I would probably try and suss it out, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't seem right. She just looks at Bisho, and at first her, she's got a very defensive stance towards him, but as Inari speaks and says that he tried to find them and stuff, she relents, and she gives him a nod. She doesn't like go full on I forgive you, but just okay. Uh, just an acknowledgement, and we are to where we can get okay. This might not be at
Mm-hmm.
okay, but if I met you again, I'm not going to attack you right off, kind of thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Um, so others are coming. Someone is coming.
We
All
hope
right.
so. Bisho has felt some travelers nearby, and if they are as how shall we say, as responsive to their let's call it please, and she kind of like gives him a bit of a look. They should be heading this way and to find you.
Thank you. I will try to take care of them. She looks at the others until they come.
Then I will leave it to you. We have to return now. We can't stay astray this far from Rokugan for long. We wish you well in your travels, and that you make a speedy return. But we don't know for sure how safe or how quickly that might be. So keep your friends close and keep yourself strong, and hopefully you can take advantage of whatever opportunities fate brings your way.
And at that, she will figure out a way to bow somehow. It might fall over.
Mm-hmm. You might fall over, you might topple a bit, but yeah. And with that, you see her dissipate back into what again you thought was the bend in a river as the sun begins to set, and it just looks like the rest of a flat, empty plain of
Except for the
sand and
supplies, right?
dunes. Except for the supplies. The supplies do stay. The first shiki is still there, and you let the others drink in whatever state of near consciousness or unconsciousness they kind of are. You kind of help force them to eat some of the onigiri rice balls and to grind that up as best they can and swallow it. And soon you're just left with a few empty gourds, grains of rice, and the fur shiki of the playful foxes. And just before you finally succumb to the exhaustion of it all, also, you hear what sounds like possible riders or someone coming nearby, someone casting about some lights, and you see several riders on strange furry beasts kind of come up upon you, but it's just kind of right at the limits of your consciousness before you also pass out from the heat and the exhaustion of it all. I'm Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, your host and narrator, thanking you once again for listening. Remember to catch new episodes every Monday. If you want to catch them early or are looking for more bonus content, please consider becoming a supporting member of the Patreon at patreon.com/CourtGames.
I am Tyler, and I've been playing Akoto Riichi. You can find me on my personal accounts on Twitter at ChurcherGames or on Twitch, also as ChurcherGames. You can find the show on the web at CourtGamesPod.com, on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram under Fortune and Strife, and on Twitter at L5RFNS. If you would like to contact us, you can email the show at fortuneandstrife@gmail.com.
This is Jeanne, aka Kakita Kaori, and also known as, at least today, Doji Gen. You can find me at my blog at the Winter Garden of the Kakita website, along with helpful materials for the RPG, and also on Twitter at White Veils or on Facebook. If you like, I am also found on the Court Games RPG podcast as a writer for Emerald Legacy, or check out The Table Is Yours for fiction readings of the FFG stories.
This has been Fortune and Strife, a Court Games production in association with D20 Radio Network and the Rokugana Historical Society.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.